We're taking a look at all that snow that fell, what's in the snowpack across the state, a quiet weekend, taking a look at that possible storm system for next week as well, and above normal temperatures return. So of course we've had a lot of snow. This is taking a look at the seasonal snowfall to date. 48.3 inches in the Twin Cities. Duluth, 68 inches of snow, also closing in on their normal total snowfall for the season. No surprise, the most has been along the North Shore, and that's where we have the deepest snowpack too. We're measuring it in 2 to 3 feet for most places all around Lake Superior. Twin Cities area, 16 inches, 16 inches of snow depth. And you can see some pockets of over a foot, us included. Also, just as important, the amount of water in that snowpack. This is something we'll pay attention to, of course, through the winter for that potential for spring flooding. About 2 to 4 inches of water in the snow in the Twin Cities, but 4 to 6 to 8, even some 10-inch spots along the North Shore. That's how much water is locked into that snow. Now, a lot of that will evaporate and melt more slowly, but we'll have to see how much is in it as we head into spring. This is a look at the top snowfall seasons. Number one is 1983, 1984. Total for that season was 98.6 inches, so we're almost halfway to that if we were to match it. It was cold though, that fresh snow really making a difference. Teens below zero for some spots on the Iron Range, and outside the Twin Cities urban heat island, a lot of sub-zero readings. This was much cooler than most of the models forecasted. They have a hard time with that fresh snow. It doesn't really get locked into the model data until a day or two after the snowfall, and that fresh snow is a real efficient emitter of radiation, allows us to cool off even quicker. We had some fog, of course, because of that. This is looking at visibility early this morning. The denser fog was in the southwest metro, pockets of the east metro. It even led to some snow bursts. Now, I wrote an article about this. Check it out on bringmethenews.com. I go much more into detail, but this is from the National Weather Service office in Chanhassen. Was in the middle of one of these little cloud bursts. This wasn't anything that showed up on radar because it was underneath the radar beam, which is about 1,000 feet high. But if we look at the weather balloon data this morning, it was saturated in the bottom 900 feet. And that's enough to squeeze out some snowflakes. It's easier to produce snowflakes than raindrops because you get a multiplied factor in terms of volume. It only takes 1/100th of an inch of water to create 1/10th of an inch of snow, for example. Speaking of snow, it's going to be quiet and dry for the next several days. We are still watching the possibility of late next week. The European model now has moved well south, keeps the moisture south, but the American model does still spread some moisture, maybe southeastern Minnesota into southern Wisconsin, so we'll have to keep watching this. But this is looking at the past model runs over the last couple of days from both the European and the American model. No particular organization to this other than to show you that we're not out of the woods yet. There are still several possibilities with next week's system, but the trend is moving it a little further south. So take that for what it's worth. We'll keep watching it, of course, but we've got several days before that happens. Near 20 today and tomorrow. That is slightly cooler than normal, and we'll probably see some freezing fog again tonight. There's just all that moisture still stuck in the atmosphere, light winds, clear skies, and we'll see things start to gradually warm up here close to 30 by Monday and generally above normal temperatures through next week.